Welcome to the Prophecy Club. I'm going to talk about preparations, specifically some of the preparations I have made. I'm going to tell you right up front, I'm not an expert in these preparations, and I'm not as prepared as I need to be, so don't necessarily think that if you do what I do, you are prepared. I'm going to tell you right now, you need to be more prepared than I am, because again, I'm not as prepared as I need to be. Let me read a paragraph from BenjaminFulford.net. July 5th, headline says the CCP, that's the Communist Party of China, turned 100 last week and the USA turned 245. Now, if you skip down several paragraphs, it says, a CIA source for his part says, it is possible to confirm from public records a large number of planes flying from Washington, D.C. to Thule Air Force Base in Greenland. Quote, these are specifically outfitted cargo planes full of convicts from Gitmo and the military tribunals taking place in the White House, unquote, he says. Of course, the KM, that's Khazarian Mafia, is not planning to go quietly in the night. Now, that's my point. I'll read that again. The Khazarian Mafia, that's your Moloch and Baal worshippers, your deep state, the international bankers, the evil people that rule the world. The Khazarian Mafia is not planning to go quietly in the night. We're receiving intelligence from multiple sources confirming they are planning, listen carefully, they are planning power failures, internet shutdowns, food shortages over the coming months, as the articles of the links below show. This has already started. Now, I read the Wall Street Barter Dream yesterday. Read it twice. I'm not going to read it twice today, but I'm going to read it because there's a couple of things that I need to point out because, again, we're going to talk about preparations today. And I'm going to tell you right up front that I'm going to be talking about some things that we don't necessarily offer with Prophecy Club because this is not just an effort to try to get more money into the ministry. This is an effort, I will say an honest effort to try to get everybody to think through. I can't tell you exactly what to do to prepare for you in your situation, where you live. Are you in the country? Are you in the mountains? Are you in a neighborhood? I can't tell you how to prepare, but we are going to try to think through it here in just a second. Now, first, let me refresh your memory on this dream. If you didn't hear it, this is very important. Now, one of the other reasons that I know that this dream is really from God is because I know Dana Coverstone. Also, I mean, like Michael Boldea and Dimitri both, well, Lord, if this dream is really from you, let me have it again. So in this case, he's having the same dream several nights in a row from different angles, showing different details. So my opinion, there is no question this is God. Now, I also want to say, we've seen from Coverstone that his dreams are not warnings from God saying this is absolutely, positively going to come to pass. Instead, they are warnings that we need to pray off, and to a large degree we have prayed a lot of them away, and I don't think we're done praying, which is why Coverstone and we're all putting together our thoughts and resources to do another Solemn September Assembly, September 6 to 8, which, by the way, we only have about 30 people signed up for right now. So it's still got plenty of room, but I'm pretty confident it's going to fill up. So you want to go to watchmanstrumpet.com and get signed up. Okay, so let's go to the dream. The dream started with a sunny sky and Wall Street in the background. Everything was clean and proper and businesslike. I saw normally dressed people on the sidewalk standing behind several 6 to 8 foot long white tables. Behind the tables were live chickens, a fenced-in area for horses, rack of eggs, tools, various meat and food vendors. There were customers lined up and buying and trading and bartering. I saw a man walk up with 5 12-gauge shotgun shells in his hands and traded them for 10 small chickens. A lady walked up and traded 5 hammers for 15 boxes of screws and bolts. A gentleman in a very expensive suit took off his Rolex watch and traded it for 15 horses. The man trading the horses said it was actually worth 30 horses instead. There were no vehicles, this is important. There were no vehicles on the roads, but plenty of people riding bikes, skateboards, and everyone treating each other with respect and kindness, meaning probably, my opinion, Suitcase nukes went off, and nothing is moving. No cars start, okay? A lady walked up, and of course, I guess I should tell you, EMPShield.com. Put in the promo code PROPHECY, and you can get a device there that will protect your house and one that will protect your car. No vehicles on the roads, but plenty of people riding bikes and skateboards, and everyone was treating each other with respect and kindness. A lady walked up and seemed frustrated, and she needed eggs desperately, but had nothing to trade for them. Another lady grabbed 10 eggs, handed them to her. She started crying, hugged the lady because she gave her the eggs. I had this very same dream for several nights in a row. That confirms this of God. Then on the 14th, I had the same dream, but with much more detail. The sky was the same, and the sun was out, and everything was exactly the same until I viewed the tables. I was seeing them this time from behind the tables, looking at the people who were approaching to barter. The tables were bowed down with weight upon them with all the items that were for bartering. There were eggs on racks, unwashed, and few cracked and dripping down on the other egg cartons. The tools had slight amounts of rust, but were organized according to their intention. No power tools. That's the second thing. In other words, there's no power tools. Why? Not because they didn't have batteries. It's because all the chips in them were fried. Again, I think it points to suitcase nukes. The sections of tools had 5, 10, or 15 of everything. Hammers, boxes of screws, nails, screwdrivers, hand drills. See, again, no power. Hand drills, planers, shovels, rakes, garden tools. There were also hoses and feeding troughs for animals stacked in 5, 10s, and 15s. No one, another point here, very important, no one was carrying a cell phone or talking on one or looking at one. Why? Because suitcase nukes fried all the chips. They don't work anymore. The man with the shells walked up, and I noticed he was barefoot this time. He was holding up his pants with one hand, while the other hand had the shotgun shells in it. When he was handed the chickens, he took off his shirt and made a makeshift bag out of it to hold the small chickens. The woman with the hammers had pajama bottoms on with a dress shirt and sweater. She was wearing one earring and fake nails on one hand. The other hand had no nails on it at all. The man in the suit had forgotten his wallet, but now appeared to have a suit jacket over his undershirt, but no dress shirt or tie, and the back of his jacket was wrinkled as if he had slept in it. When he took off the Rolex, he took the metal band off and broke it into smaller pieces. In other words, smaller chunks of gold. Okay. Then in the distance he could hear thunder and saw storm clouds coming from the west, and suddenly lightning struck the Empire State Building, and everyone bartering covered their goods and ran as fast as they could into the buildings of the Wall Street. Then the man I see, in other words, this is the angel, unfurled an umbrella and stood under it to shield himself from the rain that was not pouring on the ground. Now, here's the point. You are not as prepared as you need to be. So hearken to my word and brace. Don't barter with my word, as you will come up short. What's he saying? You're not as prepared as you need to be. I take that personally. I take that saying, Stan, you are not as prepared as you need to be. In other words, I think you need to think through it. And I've been walking around ever since I heard this. I've been saying, Lord, help me, put in my heart, show me what I need to do. And that's what I think we all need to be doing. You're not as prepared as you need to be, so hearken to my word and brace. Now, the way we would say that is, you're not as prepared as you need to be, so get so. Get ready. Don't barter with my word, as you will come up short. I take that to say, don't cut corners. Don't try to soften it. Don't try to smooth it out. Don't try to make it say something to keep the people encouraged. Right now, it's time to get ready. It's time to prepare. Now, let's talk about that. And this is the point of the broadcast. There are three, what they call threes. The 3 threes are, if you have no air for 3 minutes, you're dead. If you have no water for 3 days, you're dead. If you have no food for 30 days, you're dead. So you have to have air every 3 minutes, water every 3 days, and food at least once every 30 days. So in that order, let's talk about it. Let's think it through. The point here is not for you to listen today, but the point is for us all to think it through. All right, so the first thing we have to have is air. We don't have air for 3 minutes and we're gone. I got some N95 masks, and this is long before the V came out. Okay. These are the serious masks, the ones that actually fit all over the whole. In other words, if there's volcanic ash in the air, or if there's some kind of radiation in the air, if there's some kind of particle in the air that I really, really have to filter out, I want to be able to do that. So I have some N95 masks. Those are fairly simple masks. But I also got some serious filter masks. These are the ones with the big filters on each side of the corners of the mouth, and they fit tightly. I mean, with straps over the back of them. There's serious filtration. And I got one for me, and I also got a smaller size for Leslie. And we put them up. Now let's talk about water. The greatest cause of death in almost every disaster emergency is actually drinking contaminated water. Drinking contaminated water can kill a person in 24 to 48 hours. And we must have water. Again, you can't go longer than 30. I can tell you, I already tried it. I can only go 50 hours without water. I was shutting down when I decided I was going to fast for 3 days, no food, no water. 50 hours is my limit. Probably someplace in the ballpark with you also. So we must have clean water. So I figured, okay, if I must have water, then obviously I've got to have water to filter. So do you have a creek? Do you have a way to catch the runoff off of your roof or a mud puddle? You can't do urine or salt water because any kind of salt causes your body will expel that, and you'll actually dry out quicker. You can't consume salt, and a Berkey water filter will not filter out salt. So you got to have clean water. Second thing is, I recommend the Berkey. That's the one that the missionaries use. It's the one that's time tested. It does not require any pressure for the water. You just pour water coming off of your roof, or you picked it up out of a mud puddle into the top, and clean, pure drinking water comes out the spigot on the bottom. You see, we want to be a blesser, not a beggar. We want to be giving to others, not standing in line begging for help from someone else. So that means that not only do we need to be prepared for us and our family and our household, but you better know that there's going to be people knocking on your door, and hopefully they're going to be kind, friendly neighbors. But they might be people that are saying, you will give us water, you will give us food, and the best thing to do would be in a position to be able to give it to them. All right, so let's talk about food. Have you thought about, do you have food? And then, how do you prepare it? See, because freeze-dried food, like you get from, for example, heavensharvest.com, if you want to get that, the promo code there is STAN, which I recommend. Heavensharvest.com has freeze-dried food. That is the very best, and I might add, in most places, you can't even find freeze-dried food. I haven't checked here the last few days to see if it's still available, but the last time I checked, good luck. You can't find it. Anyway, they have freeze-dried food. That's the reason I say the coveted freeze-dried food. Heavensharvest.com, promo code STAN. So the first thing you got to do is have the food. But if you have freeze-dried food, you still have to have boiling water to pour on it. And I don't think it's safe to count on wood-type fires. A, they put off smoke, and B, it requires food or wood, and you might not have any wood. That is, unless you live near a big forest or something. I personally have propane and an outdoor propane burner. Also, let me caution you, do not use an outdoor burner or stove indoors due to the fumes. Most canned food is only good for about 2 years, some considerably less. Long-term storage food, however, like, again, heavensharvest.com, is much better. I think this is supposed to be good for like 10 or 20 years. I need to probably ask them. But suffice to say, enough for at least a couple of years. Next thing, let's talk about electricity. Well, why do we need to have electricity? Well, actually, we don't. That is, if we don't mind throwing everything in our refrigerators away. Now, this is my thought. My thought is I need to have some kind of a generator to keep my refrigerator going, because I estimate it'd take me about 30 days, maybe less, to eat what is in my refrigerator. I don't want to have to throw that all out. And matter of fact, I guess I should mention that we have a 42K diesel generator in Topeka at our home office there. Story on it is we purchased this 42K diesel generator back in 1999 for Y2K, but we never used it. It still sits on the same crate it arrived at our warehouse at. It's never been started, never had diesel hooked up to it, and I think I paid like $6,000 for it. And also, I think it has anywhere from $800 to $1,200 worth of copper cables to be able to run the electricity or the power wherever we might need to run it. In other words, it was a continuance of the ministry plan back in Y2K. With a shortage of diesel generators, I think we're asking $7,500 for the whole generator, all the cables, all the fittings, everything, which I think is a bargain. My thought was a larger generator will have to run less time to charge a bank of batteries. Instead of the generator running 24 hours a day, maybe a 42K would only have to run for an hour or two. Also, the advantage of diesel over gasoline is diesel has approximately 30% more energy than gasoline and approximately 60% more than propane. It stays good longer. Diesel engines last 2 to 4 times longer than gasoline engines, and diesel is much safer to transport and store than gasoline or propane. It's excellent for an average home, but perfect for a large home or a small to medium business. 42K, that's a whopper. 42K diesel generator, and you can make arrangements to pick it up. And as a matter of fact, it may even be tax deductible. Okay, there was a mistake. We're actually asking $7,500 for the generator and all the cables and everything that goes with it. And if you'd like to ask questions, call 785-266-1112. 785-266-1112. And if you'd like to send an email, send the email to contact@prophecyclub.com. Contact@prophecyclub.com. That's the reason to have electricity, in my opinion, is primarily to get the food out of your refrigerator. You notice that in the dream there were people riding bikes and skateboards and things like that. Well, if you have your device from EMPShield.com, hopefully your car will still start. Things in your house will still work because it will shut off the EMP blast from some kind of a suitcase nuke. And I do not know how many miles away that hits. I don't understand that. But nevertheless, I want to be protected for it. So I have the EMPShield.com device on my house and on my cars, and I did not find it difficult to put on it all. They have videos on EMPShield.com. Use the promo code PROPHECY, helps your Prophecy Club, but they have videos to show you how to put it on. I also have about 30 gallons of gasoline with the gasoline extender already added in it, which supposedly makes the gasoline good for about 2 years. And I have those in 5-gallon containers. I also have some propane. I don't want to really talk about the propane, but trust me, I got a bunch of propane. Now let's talk about silver. And yes, if you're thinking about getting gold, silver, some kind of precious metals, I'm going to point you to cornerstoneassetmetals.com at 888-747-3309. So let's talk about silver. You recall that Shane Warren was told in the audible voice of God said that silver will skyrocket far more than gold. Now, I have to tell you that this is a prophecy program. This is not a financial program. We're not giving financial advice, and I'm not telling you to buy silver. I'm just telling you what I have done. I have got it, and I believe that the Lord laid in my heart to get it and confirmed that, and I just recently got a little bit more. I don't have a whole lot of money. As a matter of fact, this is summertime, so if you could help us, if God is blessed and you could help Prophecy Club, now would be a real good time. Okay, anyway, let's talk about bartering. October 2012, we had Daniel Davis out of Costa Rica to come in and speak and made a DVD called I Saw the Dollar Dead, and you can watch that instantly at watchprophecyclub.com. He said in this dream, I was standing in Dallas, and I looked up, and a man stepped up to the microphone and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, I have an announcement to make. America, as you have known it, has ceased to exist. All property lines have been dissolved, and the U.S. dollar is worthless." Now, let's jump to scene 2. He says, suddenly I was standing at a gasoline station, and it had a high fence all around the back of it, barbed wire across the top, And inside the fence were tractors, power equipment, lawnmowers, chainsaws, all kinds of different items that clearly had been bartered for gasoline. Frantic people were pulling their vehicles up to the fuel pumps and buying gas. My intuition told me that they were heading west. Then an SUV pulled up with an open trailer in the back, an entire family in the vehicle. They all looked worried. They had thrown all of the belongings into the trailer and strapped items on the top of the vehicle. The father jumped out of the SUV and came up to the man and said, "I need a full tank of gas." He pulled out his billfold to pay with dollars, and the store manager said, "I'm sorry, I don't take U.S. dollars." The father looked concerned. "What do you take then?" "Well, what do you have?" Well, the guy walked over to his trailer and basically knew he could take anything from the guy's trailer he wanted for a tank of gas. All right, now let's pause for a second. If you had gold coins that right now are around $2,000 a coin, that's too big. You don't want to pull out a $2,000 item to trade for a tank of gas. So at that point, that's when you would have an advantage if you had silver coins. Right now, silver coin is in the ballpark 35, let's say $40. Well, you could probably pull out one silver coin and get you a tank full of gas. For sure, 2 coins would get you a full tank of gas, even a large one. You see, so that's where coins come. Now, if you pull out rhodium, again, that's over $2,000. Or what's the other one they sell? Palladium, same thing. See, so that's the advantage of silver. Now, it doesn't make any difference what the design is on the silver coin. Silver is silver. There is one disadvantage. If you pull out a coin, "Oh, this is a very rare coin. Why, this was 100 years ago coin. And this is a rare collector's item. It has no scratches on it. You see how this is in a plastic container?" The guy at the convenience store is going to say, "I don't care. It's silver. I will give you the value of 1 ounce of silver. I will give you a tank of gas for 2 of those." "Yeah, but I paid $3,000 for that coin." "Well, I'm sorry. I will give you $35 worth of gasoline for that." You see what I'm saying? So collector's items, he's not going to give you anything more than just the price of silver for that. So think it through. That's the point of this broadcast. Think it through. Now let's go to scene 3. Immediately, I was standing in front of a very modern war room which had video screens on the wall. Screens showing different places around the world, modern world events. In the middle was President George W. Bush. Now, I don't think this is saying that this happened years ago. It's in the past. I think it's simply saying that the president, whomever that may be at this particular time, was in the room. Surrounded by counselors and advisors, many of them had clipboards attempting to advise the president on important issues. He had his hands up in the air as if to say, "I don't want to hear any more. I'm tired. I'm worn out." I was standing beside a large man who looked like a Secret Service agent. He began speaking to me and saying, "The president has fought a long, hard, and very tired battle." I responded, "Yeah, I can see that." He said, "He's been fighting a very powerful enemy now for a long time." Now, let me skip to it. He said that enemy was communism. The new race theory that they're trying to get us to put into schools, that's actually communism. And in my opinion, I think what the Christians should do is say, well, then I want the King James Bible to be required to be read in every school and every business every day. And then it would be the difference between us promoting Jesus and the Bible versus them promoting communism and Satanism, really. So that would bring the power of Jesus and the name of Jesus into play against evil. And, of course, the King James Bible and Jesus would win. But I don't hear anybody suggesting that the Bible needs to be taught to schools again. In my opinion, that is our real solution. Let me spend the rest of the time of the broadcast refreshing your memory on the suitcase nukes. It seems to fit. November 1998, Stanislav Lunev, the highest-ranking Russian military officer ever to defect from Russia, made a Prophecy Club DVD called Russian Defector Warns America. In this video, he stated that the 50, quote, lost in Russia suitcase nuclear bombs had been smuggled into the United States. May 5, 2003, Michael Boldea, grandson of Dmitry Duduman, had a dream and was shown suitcase nukes going off in California, Illinois, Michigan, Arizona, Washington State, Florida, and New York. He said, I saw an outline of the map of the United States as I continued to watch small lights begin to flicker on and off in some of the states: California, Illinois, Michigan, Arizona, Washington State, Florida, and New York. And the voice said, these are the places where those who were sent here long ago to bring fear and cause chaos have situated themselves. They lie in wait, planning and plotting destruction, as coiled serpents, looking forward to the hour they will be loosed upon this nation. If God's people pray, once more he will delay the season of sorrow that is yet to come. And we believe that season of sorrow has already been delayed at least twice. But again, Solemn September Assembly, September 6 to 8, be there. We're going to pray against it again. Then October 15, 2004, Michael Bolday had another dream called The Eagle and the Serpents. He was shown an eagle landed in a clearing and was attacked 3 different times. The first time was on the left wing, the second time on the right wing, the third time the serpent took the whole of the head in his mouth, and the angel appeared beside him and said that there are 3 attacks coming on America. The first one was 9/11. The second one will be much worse and come from a direction unexpected, and the third one will be her destruction. Then January the 9th, 2005, I was shown a dream called The Next 9/11 Attack. I was shown that international bankers would use sophisticated bombs and experts, at that time I didn't know they were suitcase nukes, in several cities, with one hitting a regional bank, destroying their records and backups. This would put billions of dollars into their hands while throwing the U.S. economy into a freefall. Well, that could fit with our scenario above, too. Then in 2005, former Congressman Curt Weldon, Vice Chairman of the House Armed Services Committee, uncovered a plot to set explosions in 10 cities. When he couldn't get the authorities to act, he published the information in a book called Countdown to Terror. The 10 cities were Valdez, Alaska, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Boston, New York City, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, Chicago, Miami, Houston, and in other places it said Dallas. Now, let me go back to what Benjamin Fulford said July 5th, 2021. The source said, it is possible to confirm public records of a large number of planes flying from Washington, D.C. to Thule Air Base in Greenland. Quote, these are specifically outfitted cargo planes full of convicts from Gitmo and the military tribunals taking place in the White House. Now, here's the point. Of course, the Khazari Mafia is not planning to go quietly into the night. This is what they call the Samson option. In other words, when they see that their world is being taken down and that they're being arrested and that justice is going to be served, they have a plan to destroy the rest of the world if they can. And while Fulford goes on to say, we're receiving intelligence from multiple sources confirming they're planning power failures, internet shutdowns, food shortages over the coming months, we know it's a lot worse than that. We know that they have suitcase nukes, and from several different prophecies, several different people, we believe that they're about to set them off. What do? That's the point of the broadcast today. I'm suggesting that you think it through. Keep asking, Lord, what do I have to do to get prepared? Show me what I have to do to get prepared. And EMPShield.com, the code word there is prophecy, heavensharvest.com, the promo code is STAN, and remember cornerstoneassetmetals.com. Also go to watchmanstrumpet.com, get signed up for the Solemn September Assembly, September 6 to 8. watchmanstrumpet.com, EMPShield.com, code word prophecy, heavensharvest.com, promo code STAN, cornerstoneassetmetals.com. When a nuclear device goes off, it produces an EMP electromagnetic pulse, and it fries every computer chip unless they're protected. The good news is EMPShield.com has devices a military testing facility says are 100% accurate to protect against EMP, solar flares, lightning, power surges, backed by a 10-year warranty and a $25,000 insurance policy. And they come with simple installation instructions for home, vehicles, RV, and electric generators. You can have electricity in a blackout. EMPShield.com. Use the promo code PROPHECY for a $50 gift card. This helps Prophecy Club. That's EMPShield.com, promo code PROPHECY for a $50 gift card. EMPShield.com. EMPShield.com.